I had some steaks in the freezer. They need to be used. It's just too cold to barbecue. So we're making steak fettuccine. It's really good. Let's do it now. The first thing we need is some garlic, 3 big cloves, and I actually minced them all up by hand, which I don't normally do because I have a jar of minced garlic in the fridge, but this is much more flavorful. Into a little bowl till we need it. We'll put it aside. Next ingredient, of course, is an onion. Peeled, chopped, not quite diced. Grape tomatoes are next. I only took a half a handful out of the container. I kind of wish I would have done the whole thing now. So we're cutting them in half, except for the really big ones. I cut into thirds. This is going to go in the oven. We're going to roast them 425 for 20 minutes. And once we clean up, now we're on the cheese. This is a quarter brick of Parmesan. That hunk. I should have done both hunks. I didn't. I thought that would be plenty for what I was doing because I wasn't making a huge dish. So we shredded it all down. I also managed at the very end to nick my thumb. As careful as I try to be with these things, I always seem to hurt myself. So there's approximately third of a cup of grated Parmesan. That looks pretty good. We'll put that aside too. Over the stove, pot of water, turn on to boil. We're going to throw in about a tablespoon-ish of salt, cover it up, get it up to a boil. So here's our roasted tomatoes all out of the oven. Don't they look good? We'll put them aside with everything else. Now here's our meat. It's thawed out of the freezer. We just got to use it up. So I'm going to take the meat. There's a little bit of fat on it. I'm going to trim that as I go. I'm cutting it all up into strips, and then from the strips I'm going to cut it up into bite-sized pieces, and we'll put that aside because our water's boiling. So let's get our noodles going because the fettuccine is going to take a little while to cook. Now I'm breaking it up in half, personal preference. You can still twirl the noodles around, but it's easier to eat, I find. You want to keep them whole, keep them whole. Nothing stopping you. So we'll give her a quick stir, put the lid on, get her back up to a boil, and I'll probably just put it on simmer. So into our frying pan, about a tablespoon of olive oil, or butter, or just oil, whatever you want to put in. To that come our onions that we chopped up, and we're going to cook them down for about 3 minutes or so. You want them soft. See, they're starting to glisten, then they turn soft. And we're going to cook them till they're just starting to brown up. Stirring ever so slightly every once in a while. In goes our meat. And we're going to let that brown up. Just like that. So it's looking good. Let's get this off. And we're going to put it aside because we still need our frying pan. We'll dump it out. Get our frying pan ready. That's about a tablespoon and a half, 2 tablespoons of butter. Get that all nice and melty. Now, if you're concerned about it burning, scorching, turning brown, put just a dash of oil in, cooking oil or olive oil, and that will stop it from scorching. Now, I was kind of watching it, and it wasn't going to be long. Everything was ready to go, so I wasn't too worried about it. In goes our garlic. This is good already. Unfortunately, videos don't show you the smell, so you can't enjoy it as much as I did making it. So in go our roasted tomatoes, and I guess you can see here how, you know, one whole container would have been better, and for sure it would. Next time I definitely use a full container. Now this is leaf spinach. I got a container of it, which worked out to 3 big handfuls and a few extra leaves. So we washed her up, rinsed her off, and threw it in the frying pan. Now what I always love about this is it looks like there's tons, and by the time you wilt it down and cook it down, there's almost nothing left. So that's looking good right now. Our noodles are ready, so let's dump them out. And let's get them back in the pan, because this is going to go in the other frying pan, but not just yet. We got a little work to do first. So we'll put that aside for a couple minutes. Our garlic, tomatoes, and spinach are ready. So the next step, this is 2 cups of heavy cream. You can do light cream if you want. I suspect you could even do half and half, and it would be just as good. So we mixed it all around nice and combined, and in goes our shredded Parmesan. This is the part where, after I stirred it all in, I realized that, you know, this is good, but it's just not as thick as I would have liked it. And granted, as it simmers in the pot, it's going to get thickened up a bit. So I tasted it and put a little salt and pepper in it just to give it a little extra taste. Once again, it's all to your own taste. Now, because I didn't like the way it wasn't thickening up, I went and grabbed 2 handfuls of shredded mozzarella that I had in the fridge. You know, which is about, that's maybe 3/4 of a cup. So it tasted a lot better. We're going to see if we can get this to work. So in go our noodles, ever so carefully. My biggest fear is dumping it all in and half of it fall out onto the stove. Thankfully that didn't happen. Managed to get them all in to the pan. Now we just got to combine all of our sauce with our noodles. That's looking pretty good. And of course our last component, our steak and onions. Now we'll just give them a little mix and combine everything all together. That looks pretty good. There's our steak fettuccine, fresh out of the pan. It's dinner time. Hey, another great recipe. I hope you'll give it a try. Leave me a comment below, one way or the other. Listen, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell, because that'll tell you the next time I upload a video. Feel free to share this in any of my other videos. And thanks for stopping by and watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.